person work on the second affirmative rebuttal within 5 minutes.
Before starting my speech, I will show my model. First, you counter plan 2, counter plan 1, negation, DA, then affirmative observation in AD and handle. And these first three counter plan 2, and counter plan 1, negation, DA, affirmative observation, AD, and object. In this order. May I start? First three counter plan 2. First three counter plan 2. Then counter plan 1. Then negation. Then PA. Affirmative observation. AD. And W. May I start? I will start. The first three, as for counter plan 2, please simply extend 2S. 2S is refute. That is, if they cannot say re-election is general, the topicality will not stand. Maybe on this point they want to say what they want to say is that all interpretation of all should be prioritized or something. However, if so, please take our both adoption refutation. That is, with both adoption can be taken with time permutation. Because if we after introducing compulsory voting, we can examine the burden of re-election is too big or not, or it will cause a random vote or something. Then at that time we can accept the re-election. That is enough for the governmental stance, because we should avoid inferiority. That is, the re-election is not important for the people. The government will give the impression that re-election is not important or something. That is a big problem, because election is the only way to gather people's opinion, cross-apply our affirmative observation. So please simply evaluate our inferiority and time both adoption is the conclusion of this plan. So this counter plan 2 cannot be the vote of the negative side. Next was the counter plan 1, counter plan 2, counter plan 1. And on this process, maybe a crucial point is that the first three, the interpretation is only right or right and duty. And second important point is that maybe under the status quo, compulsory voting is introduced or not. First three, they fail to negate, or they fail to show the topicality will stand under the interpretation of the right. There is a possibility that is the compulsory voting is right. Voting is the right under the status quo, thanks to their first card, ASA point first card. At the time, they fail to show their topicality argumentation, because there is a possibility that is compulsory voting is not the duty but only right, even under the status quo. At least, please evaluate my refutation in 2AC. That is why we can say status quo voluntary voting system is can be said to compulsory voting is totally unknown, because that is voluntary, and only describing or writing that is the or interpretation of the constitution can be the duty is not saying that it is bring into practice. It is not the practice, but just mentioning or just interpretation or just writing or just describing. So my conclusion is on this counter plan 1 is the affirmative sides succeed to meet today's resolution, because there is no possibility of the voting is duty under the status quo, and compulsory voting is introduced into practice level. So please keep out the counter plan 1. And next about the negation process. As a negation process, please simply explain one and repeat. That is, simply consider we can naturally understand that under the status quo, government is controlling the election, because there is a House of Representative member or House of Council members. They are the government member, right? At that time, so please simply kick out their negation, topicality argumentation. So this cannot be the order of the negation. Next about the DA. As for DA, please simply extend as for DA, please simply extend to SE speech that is no linkage at all because other procedures have maybe same burden. At that time, physically and mentally, no linkage at all, or at least no impact because if people feel need or it is needed as a whole nation, duty can be justified or such dissatisfaction can be ignored for the whole nation's benefit. So please, if the AD stands, the DA's linkage and impact can be ignored. So next go to affirmative observation and AD process. As for affirmative observation and AD process, please please simply extend affirmative observation based upon additional law. In this one, negative side helps to say that deny the importance of people's participation towards election, right? At that time, please extend underview as a point. That is, even if after pronunciation there is a possibility that people's body is not their true will, to increase the vote itself is important to decrease the gap between the government's status quo policy and the people's true opinion. So please vote for the affirmative.